All right, Jay, take it away.
Hey, good morning, good day, everyone. My name is Jaysun Howell, and we have Alex Delic from the UK, and we're going to be
Hi there.
presenting how performance testing was leveraged to ensure Maximo upgrade success for the Sacramento Area District Sewer District. So we have a quick agenda here, introductions, project background, the project objectives and deliverables, performance testing, and key lessons learned. We'll do introductions first. Again, my name is Jaysun Howell. I started my career with Maximo about 30 years ago as a customer, and then transitioned to PSDI, then to MRO, and then to IBM, and have been around a couple of the Maximo groups for the last, I don't know, 10 years or so. I've kind of lost track. So that's my background right now. I'm the project manager or the Maximo senior consultant for Maven. I'll let you take it away, Alex.
Yeah, hi, I'm Alex, work with Co-Development Limited, and we offer MaxTAF, which is primarily a testing solution for IBM Maximo. It's a company we've been around for a very long time, since 1997. Originally, we were in Maximo Java customizations, and then slowly we've moved more over to sort of UI automation. So generally we focus on regression testing, performance testing, and then there are some alternative uses for our automation technology as well. So that's in great interactive training manuals, and there's some data loading capabilities as well. But yes, I've been in the industry for 5 years now, fairly well embedded on the UK side, which is where I'm tuning in from. But yes, I went to my first Maximo World last year, so over to the States, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this presentation.
Thank you, Alex. Let's start off with an introduction to Sacramento Area Sewer District, or SAC Sewer as we like to call them. They're a sewer collection utility providing service to more than 1 million people in the Sacramento region of California. They serve residential, commercial, and industrial customers, and they operate and own 4,600 miles of sewer pipes and are responsible for the operations and maintenance of these sewer pipes. The employees operations department plans, operates, and maintains the sewage collection system, including 105 pump stations, and provide 24/7 customer service. The client is using have used Maximo for quite a while, so they currently use the base functionality of the asset manager, the work manager, and supply chain. There's also additional interfaces, or what they would like to call incremental functionality, which are the transportation solution, the scheduler solution, utilities, and spatial. As with most clients, there are business process management improvement opportunities that they would like to explore in order to use best practices or better practices in their organization. And SAC Sewer was no different. They wanted this upgrade to 7612 to provide the opportunity to review their processes and identify issues and best practices, and then realign them with companies' objectives. And basically wanted work management and asset management to function the same way across the organization. Like I said, they've been using Maximo for quite a while. During the upgrade, we did not provide the, we basically were concentrated on the upgrade, the business process improvement. Notes were taken, ideas and requirements and functionality and all of that were discussed, but we decided that the users were pretty sophisticated. We just needed to get through the upgrade in a very unusual environment. The bottom line, the upgrade goal was to provide a sustainable and stable Maximo 7612 upgrade with the integrations. Performance testing. Now, this is why we're here. Under this agreement, the client introduced performance testing as a requirement for the implementation. We held hardware requirements discussions, and Sac Sewer decided to purchase what they call the Ferrari of hardware. However, it was ordered in the midst of the COVID outbreak and was delayed almost 8 months. To try to reach the implementation goal, we decided to spin up one of the environments on virtual machines and use MaxTAF to conduct performance testing to determine if we could very well use VMs in light of the fact that the hardware was delayed, and which obviously was going to delay the project rollout. Immediately, the VMs showed us that they were not up to par with the performance that the users would expect and would have a detrimental impact on the project entirely. So it was decided that we would put everything on hold and wait for the hardware to arrive. So those were like the project-related decisions and processes that were put into place. I'm not going to turn it over again. This is why we're here, so you guys can understand what the performance testing provided this project. So I will turn it over to you, Alex.
Yeah, sure. So I did consider potentially doing a small little live showcase, but as always with these things, it's probably better to do something recorded. So I think Jay's going to play a video now of just to give you an overview of how performance testing works with MaxTAF and specifically for Maximo. So we can work out the webcasting software. Hopefully that'll play in a second.
Right. Mike, can you help me out once again with the video?
I got it here, Jay.
Okay. Thanks. I know you got.
MaxTAF is a powerful platform which is designed to let IBM Maximo customers put together and run automation test scripts. With easy-to-use features and a gentle learning curve, MaxTAF is designed to make test automation as simple and as powerful as possible. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how we run performance testing with MaxTAF. First, let's look at how we build our performance tests. The process is quite simple. First, we create our user journeys. These are simply automated test scripts which record certain workflows, behaviors, and actions conducted in Maximo. Then, we simply run those scripts in parallel, at scale, to simulate Maximo usage under load. While we run those performance tests, we make sure to record critical data, such as the duration of certain activities, as well as the CPU and memory usage of the Maximo system. Altogether, this provides a realistic, reliable, and understandable picture of how Maximo is performing. Let's dive into each part of the process. User journeys are built using the MaxTAF recorder. While recording, the MaxTAF recorder captures clicks, types, and other actions in Maximo. The recorder produces a script, which can be played back in our performance tests. When we come to run our user journeys, our performance test will be performing these actions in the browser like a real human would. When it comes to executing our performance tests, we run our user journeys at parallel. There are multiple different styles of execution we can use to gather different sorts of performance data from our Maximo system. The first style is spike testing. Spike testing is where we run user journeys strictly in parallel, in increasing levels of parallelization. This allows us to assess how our Maximo performs under peak stress conditions. Another type of performance test we can run is the endurance style. This is where we run different user journeys in an unstructured manner over a long period of time. The aim here is to see how Maximo performs under consistent stress. With endurance testing, we can also use humans to validate performance as well. Because of its longer duration, testers can use the Maximo system while it's under stress. This can give us valuable insight into how the system is performing from the user's perspective, and it can act as another point of data in addition to what we gather during the performance testing. Let's take a look at the reports. During the course of our testing, we can record the durations of certain activities, CPU and memory usage. We present this data in easy-to-read, very clear reports. We've designed the reports to be as readable as possible to give you as much confidence to make decisions about Maximo performance. In conclusion, performance testing with MaxTAF is designed to be easy to set up, simple to use, flexible, powerful, and give you as much confidence as possible making decisions surrounding Maximo performance. Right, so yes, if we can get the slides back up. I'm not sure how much time I have left for the presentation, but what I was going to do is just go through a couple of details on what happened in the project, how we really specify the performance testing, and yeah, how that ended up being quite a successful project. So yeah, at the sort of top level, Jay's already gone over the first performance testing run we did. That ended up resulting in a no-go. It was interesting purely on the basis that a lot of typical performance metrics weren't showing any particular red flags. Actually, it was something very, very specific to VMs, CPU ready time stat for anyone who is a performance metrics expert, but something that couldn't be resolved without additional vast expense. So that was the reason why the September 22 sort of failed, and it was only through performance testing that could be caught, so it was extremely valuable. And then finally, once the hardware was delivered, we sort of had a lot of lessons learned, and we were able to do sort of even more effective performance testing moving forward. Can I get the next slide, Jay? So yeah, for both of these though, how did we sort of go about specifying the project? So if you're wondering what the process is, generally we ask our clients to send us videos of some SME going through, call it typical workflows in Maximo. Doesn't need to be too many, 4 or 5 will do. And from Sacramento, we got fantastic workflows, but actually for performance they were quite long, and that makes it really, really difficult to orchestrate sort of performance testing, which really messes with kind of the believability of the test. So what we proposed was, instead of doing a sort of a single workflow that was like create a work order and then add tasks to the work order and then go to the safety tab and then add safety, plan hazard, etc., we broke those down. So we ended up with sort of call it, in non-stressed Maximo scenario, something like 30-second long user journeys. And that made it really, really easy to, first of all, orchestrate just from a our technical perspective, but actually as we move on to the next bit, it made it really, really effective at simulating the actual performance scenario. So if we move on to the next slide, Jay, if we could go on to the next slide. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so this is the real meat of the matter, is like how did we end up producing a believable stressed Maximo scenario? So the original requirement was very large for what the sort of performance standards were. I believe that the original requirement was something along the lines of like, we want to be able to test that 200 users can be in the system at once, and the system will survive and be effective. But actually, those requirements were based on the idea that at any one time they had 200 users logged in. Now, being logged in and sitting idle doesn't actually add all that much stress to a system. So we ended up working out, especially after that first performance run in September 22, that effectively the actual requirements were a lot more modest. So we were looking really at aiming for a sort of parallelization, as we call it, of about 20 to 40, and that was derived from a member of the Sacramento team going through the actual historical Maximo usage data. And what he had discovered was, like, for example, how many work orders are committed, how many work orders are approved, how many are created in the space of, call it, an hour. And he managed to find out what the absolute peak number of work orders and accessing of things like spatial mapping and so on, a couple of things that were needed to be tested. So he managed to go through historical Maximo data and actually put together this like a really, really believable sort of frequency of actions, which we use to model our performance test on. So as I say, the mixture of like sort of very action-focused small user journeys combined with frequency data from historical Maximo usage really, really ended up with a very, very believable performance test. So yeah, we move on to my last slide. There's a bit of lag, yeah. Yeah, so in terms of the key things, one thing I wanted to say is that from the video that you just saw, it was actually something we discovered in this project, which was the human element of it. So with Sac Sewer, we were able to, with those endurance style tests when we did a performance test for about half an hour, and we just sort of fire different user journeys at those frequencies I just mentioned. And what that means is that humans can use the system as well, because it's going on over a long period of time. That was what the first sort of red flag that in September 22 that revealed that after investigation, it was that CPU ready time problem. But also it was a huge green flag for the January sort of go live decision, because it's the SMEs and the users that are really, really important when it comes. They're the ones that are actually using it. They're the ones that sort of speak for the actual users of Maximo. So yeah, I'd really encourage you, if you're planning to do performance testing at all, to involve the users really. But yeah, in total, yeah, it's sizing load appropriately. You probably don't need quite as much sort of performance requirements as you think you do. The amount of logged in does not equal the amount of sort of actions being done. Keep the user journey simple, keep the workflows simple, and keep the sort of simulated workflows as sort of short and easy to understand as possible. And finally, historical data is an absolute game changer when it comes to the end of the line. Right, we've done performance testing. Is this believable? Can we trust this performance test to say, let's go live? And yeah, we were able to for both times. The client was able to for both times really confidently in the first place say, no, we can't use VMs. And the second place go, yes, we validated that our Ferrari of hardware is as it says on the tin. It's very effective and powerful. So yeah, that's the sort of rundown of performance testing. A lot more I could say, but I'm aware that I'm probably pretty much out of time there. So there you go.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Do we have any questions about anything from the project perspective or from Alex's perspective? There is
See one.
a breakout. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah.
You go for it, Jay. Your thing's more, yeah.
No. I just said I see there is going to be a breakout session tomorrow. I'd have to get the time. I believe it's 2 to 4. But
Eastern. Yeah.
let's see, Eastern
That's
question.
3:40 Eastern.
3:40
Okay.
Eastern.
3:40
Okay.
Eastern. Yeah. So yeah, we'd be happy to sort of have a sort of more discussion style conversation. Be happy to take questions at the moment. I can see that there is one of how will the records be accessible later. If that refers to the performance testing records, our reports, we were obviously providing it as a service, and we were producing those reports, and then actually the nature of the project was such that it was in our evenings, and when the West Coast office woke up, we would do a bunch of performance testing in the day, and then when the woke up, we had produced a bunch of reports already, and then they were able to tell us, right, can you do this change to the performance testing? Then we could do another performance test. We had settled on those endurance style with the users using it as well, and then very quickly able to sort of, we have a script basically that compiles the data, and then more than happy to go through it as well. So yeah, you're not left to totally try and work out what the hell's happening with these reports.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I just want to add on to that. That was another one of the challenges that we faced, in addition to trying to do this in a COVID environment, was the time frame with CDL or MaxTAF, and it was good for us, but you know, they were working all sorts of weird hours, but they took it on, and we were successful because of the time difference, because we didn't have to wait for results, and they could do things behind the scenes when we weren't available. So that worked out well.
Just trying to see if I can get this questions thing a bit bigger so I can see them. If you can see them, Jay, feel free to let me know. Can I just expand the whole thing? Nope. There we go. Okay. Okay, so if the scripts user journeys are written on 761, do they have to be rewritten and used on MAS? Yeah, so we get this a lot. So obviously, I've gone into performance testing, but in the broader scope, we get this for regression testing, this question quite a lot. Basically, they don't have to be rewritten. We've done a reasonable amount of work on investigating this, and if you're just doing a lift and shift sort of 7.6 to MAS manage project, there'll be a couple of tasks, pretty routine tasks that you have to do just to add a couple of extra little details into the script. But actually, it's been surprisingly, the two user interfaces, which is what we deal with, are surprisingly similar actually. So no, effectively, if it's the same Maximo just with a new MAS skin on top, MAS managed skin, actually it's just not too much work that goes into tooling up the scripts to work for MAS. Have a look. Yeah, I can. Just trying to see if I can pop it. I can pop it out. Brilliant. Okay. All right. So those are 2 questions so far. Happy to take any more. Got one here. Just how big were the sort of clients, users / testers team? So how many people were involved? So it was a good squad. I mean, Jay, maybe you can answer that question a little bit more effectively on how many sort of stakeholders were involved.
As far as there was really a good number, a good representation from the organization. As far as testing users, I believe we had anywhere from 6 to 8 in the testing, and in some cases more, maybe up to 12. But this was important for them, so we had a lot of support. We had a lot of just people getting involved and staying involved, and work through this, because as I said, everybody understood that we had a lot of challenges. So I hope that answered it. We do have a poll question before we run out of time. We have about 5 more minutes. Alex, do you see any more questions?
I can, but you can get up the poll while we're doing it, so we can get some more feedback as well. That'd be great.
I'm going to.
Yeah, so I've got question here. How long is the average? How long is the average performance testing for? Well, for the Sacramento project, I mean, the project due to delays went over for a very long time. So the sort of specification period, then the actual execution, it could be measured over a year or so. But in terms of active time, it took, I don't know, 3 weeks or so to get requirements from the client, so those videos that I was talking about earlier. Then it moved into us creating the scripts. Pretty easy to create scripts with our with our platform. Took a bit of effort on our end to make sure that they were absolutely like super duper robust for performance testing. But that was probably a 2-week process. And then the actual running took place over a period of one to 2 sort of days, I would say. And generally, I think it was, Jay, from your perspective, it was about half days, wasn't it? And then we were doing some work in UK hours as well. So actually, it's not. It's in terms of, let's call it project requirements, it's a fairly lightweight time requirement thing. But yeah, definitely requires a reasonable amount of different stakeholders, as Jay was just talking about. You need the SMEs, you need tech from the client. You've got a partner, Maven, for example. Like you need everyone to sort of be there so that they can all feed back on things, because performance testing ends up having implications sort of everywhere. So yeah.
Well, looks like we're still collecting responses from the poll.
Just looking at the questions. Yeah, I mean, I've got one which says, was there anything in specific within Maximo that wasn't performing well? Well, as I say, like it was sort of like it was a in the first place, we were assessing on the hardware side, I would say. So we're performance testing generally done 80% of it. It's to validate hardware requirements. So it's much more for on-prem self-hosted Maximos. So definitely that VMs in that instance, however it was set up, I'm not entirely sure the details, but the VM strategy was not going to be effective. And then later on more traditional hardware, it was fine. We did, I think, Jay, identify one area of software bottlenecking though in January, which was quickly resolved by the Maven team. And then we ran another performance test. So it was like, there are some issues in this one specific area. I think it was the item master. I don't know if you remember at all, Jay.
Yeah,
I think querying was very slow, but actually that ended up being something on the software side. It was really, really quickly fixed. Thanks again to performance testing, managing to find the data. And then after that, performance testing ran again another half an hour, and everything was green lights all around. And it was almost an anticlimactic moment, wasn't it, Jay? Where everyone was like, "Anyone have any problems?" No. All right, well, we can go live then.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Okay, so it looks like the poll has closed. The poll results. Looks like we had 47% said yes, they've considered or conducted performance testing, and 53% no.
Okay.
Out of 53% that.
Well, do you? I mean, do you have any, for those that haven't considered? I mean, do you, from your experience with the performance testing? 'Cause I think it was a first time for you, wasn't it, Jay? I mean, do you have any recommendations or how the experience was from your perspective?
Oh, I would definitely recommend to any of our customers going forward that they do this. This was very forward thinking, I believe, on Sac Sewer. At one point, they had pulled back on wanting to carry it through, but the forces prevailed, and it turned out to be a good decision. I, from the user side, I firmly believe that you cannot implement a system that's not 100% ready to go. And if we would have done that at Sac Sewer based on VMs just to make a deadline, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about the success of this project. So it was.
Hey Jay, sorry to cut in. We're going over a little bit of time here.
Oh, okay. I
All
was
right. Sorry, I didn't realize. Yeah.
We're a minute over.
No
Yeah.
worries.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was trying to keep
All right.
positive. So.
We appreciate your guys' time, and if people have
everyone.
more questions, join their breakout room on Thursday.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
guys. Been a
Everyone,
pleasure.
take care.